before, and here's where the surprise comes in because...
You said it was excellent, so...
because eggs are involved.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Pete Williams.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the air with word that a major figure of the 20th century, John Glenn, has died at the age of 95. He was a pioneering American astronaut who, after his career in space, had a second career in American politics. NBC's Tom Costello has a look back at his extraordinary life.
3, 2, 1.
John Glenn was more than an American hero.
Marker control sirens go.
For more than half his life, he was a 20th century icon, perhaps best known for what happened on February 20th, 1962. The first American to orbit the Earth and put America back in the space race with the Soviet Union.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Oh, that view is tremendous.
The late T.J. O'Malley was at the NASA controls that day.
Water systems, go.
Range operations, go.
All pre-start panel lights are correct. The ready light is on.
Until he died, he kept the button he pushed to send Glenn into orbit.
Hit that engine start button. I said, may the good Lord ride all the way.
Godspeed, John Glenn.
John Glenn returned to a hero's welcome and invitations to address Congress.
As our knowledge of this universe in which we live increases, may God grant us the wisdom and guidance to use it wisely.
John Glenn's roots were always firmly planted in Ohio. He was born in Cambridge, went to a local college, and married his childhood sweetheart, Annie. He flew combat missions in World War II, then shot down 3 MiGs in Korea. And in 1957, a coast-to-coast supersonic record, Los Angeles to New York in less than 3.5 hours.
These are the men who
Then the early days of the astronaut corps, later immortalized in the movie The Right Stuff.
John Glenn has streaked through 3 days.
Glenn was someone who could walk down the street in Midtown Manhattan and literally have cabbies say, "Hey, John, how you doing?"
After a career in business, Glenn was elected to the U.S. Senate from his home state of Ohio in 1974.
John Glenn needs you.
And made an unsuccessful run for the presidency in 1984. Then in 1998, NASA came calling again. At the age of 77, John Glenn got his wish to return to space aboard the shuttle Discovery.
Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery with
astronaut Steve Robinson was on the same mission.
He savored the whole thing, and he didn't make a big poetic deal about it at all. I mean, John Glenn was the most honest and straightforward and clear-thinking individual you can imagine.
A lifetime of achievement and national service honored with both the Congressional Gold Medal and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the country's highest civilian awards. John Herschel Glenn, pilot, astronaut, businessman, politician, husband, and father, and an American original. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
Glenn died at a hospital in Columbus where he'd been the past week. NBC's Tom Costello joins me now on the line. Tom, we knew that he was ill, but what are your thoughts now knowing that he's died?
You know, I think it's hard for us today to recognize what a giant John Glenn was in American history. I don't think he had any equal, especially once Neil Armstrong passed away a few years ago. This was a war hero. This was a man with just tremendous courage. Dedicated his life to the country, a man who, of course, was the first to go and orbit the Earth in Friendship 7. You know, he was such an icon and such a hero, Pete, that when he came back to Earth, President Kennedy at the time said, "That's it. I cannot risk John Glenn dying on another space mission," and he grounded him. He kept him on Earth until, of course, NASA let him go back again in the late 90s. That was part of something John Glenn wanted to do, to see how space impacted older Americans. And another fact that many of us may not be aware of, he was very close to the Kennedy family, and in fact, he was with Bobby Kennedy when Bobby Kennedy was killed in California, and it was John Glenn who had to tell the Kennedy children what had happened to their father. This was a man who was revered on both sides of the political aisle. Everybody felt that this man was somebody of tremendous ethics and just a tremendous person.
Tom Costello, thank you. NBC News veteran space correspondent Jay Barbary now joins us. Jay, you lived through all of this with John Glenn. Your thoughts?
I sure did, Pete. And, you know, I wrote in one of the books that I wrote with John Glenn after writing his story that his epitaph should be, "Here lies a civilized man." He was probably the most honest, down-to-earth man. Everybody that knew him as an astronaut, I had the pleasure of covering both of his flights and being John Glenn's friend for, nearly 60 years now. And everybody that knew him never were able to bring themselves to address him as senator. They always addressed him as John. And no matter where you went, he was there. He never put on airs. He was never jealous of anyone else. He was already ready to go. And, a lot of people don't know that when he flew fighters in Korea, the first jets that was there, as Tom mentioned, he had 3 kills. But his wingman was Ted Williams, the great baseball legend. And these are the type of people that knew John and were with him, and he was always just John, to us. And so it's very hard for me, as his friend. I spoke to him just a few weeks ago, and he was still in high spirits, but he was, losing his eyesight. And he felt like he was letting people down when he had to go out to Columbus Airport. They named Columbus, Ohio Airport after him. And they said, "Now, John, you stay in the wheelchair and all that. We do not expect you to stand up." But when they wheeled him out to the microphone, Pete, John Glenn stood up. He would not disappoint the people there. And it brought back memories of me watching him get off the Space Shuttle Discovery at the age of 77. And everybody had been speculating that John will take a week before he'll be able to stand up at that age because he'd gone up there to check aging in space, space travel.
Well,
and
Jay,
John marched off with everybody else, in front of everybody, and he walked by me and winked, and I gave him a salute, and he went on by, and he went underneath this spacecraft and inspected it, Pete.
Thank
he
you.
was just one heck of a guy.
Thank you, Jay Barbary and Tom Costello. More tonight on NBC Nightly News. I'm Pete Williams in Washington. Good day.
In a very large 4-door machine.